Good morning, class. So before we start the day, let us first pray. Jane, can you please lead the prayer? Amen. Thank you, Jane. And please be seated as I'll go ahead and check the attendance. Okay, so first, I call on Abong, Rochelle, okay, present. And then we have Bormeo Jane, present. Beverly Becquerel, present. Casiano Grace, present. Okay. Then we have here Kabalen, Larry, and then Dwayne De Mesa, present. And then we have Mark De La Peña, and then we have here Joseph Inosas, and then Ezekiel Cyril. Okay, so thank you. It seems that everyone is present for today. Thank you, class. Okay, so today I would like to ask all of you if who among of you here loves to read poems. How about those who makes their own composition? And who among of you can memorize even just one stanza of a poem you remember? Will you please go in front and recite your chosen piece, Grace? Okay, thank you. So now we'll just go ahead and listen to Grace as she recite her chosen piece. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Grace. Very good. And now, this time I would like to share with you a poem which I'm very sure you will find worth memorizing. It is entitled Annabel Lee. It is a poem written by a famous poet named Edgar Allan Poe. And who have read some of his works or had by any chance had come across his name. Are you now excited to read the poem? Okay, great. And before I distribute a copy of the poem, let us first know who the author is by examining his background. Okay? Who would like to read his biography? I need a volunteer. Okay, Larry, thank you. So go ahead and please read the biography of Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, thank you, Larry. Thank you for volunteering. Very good, thank you. And now I would like to show to you the picture of Edgar Allan Poe. All right. So famous poets are well known, for their intelligence and exceptional talent on writing. They have various ways and techniques on how they make their composition. They sometimes use words which may be unfamiliar to us. So before we proceed, let us first uncover the meaning of some unfamiliar terms used in the poem. Okay? So first, I have here for the definition of terms, I have here coveted, okay, which means invid, okay? And we have here sepulture, means grave or tomb. And then we have here demons, which means evil, okay? And then seraphs, which means angels. And then Daisiver, which means separate. And then highborn, kinsmen. These are relatives of noble birth. And then we also have night tide. It is an old fashioned way of saying night time. Okay? So those are some of the definition of terms. And then I'll distribute first the copies of the poem. Okay? All right. All right. So now, all right. So you can just pass the paper then to your classmates. Next. Okay, so now I will read to you I'll just go ahead and read here the poem entitled Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, so it was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. She was a child, and I was a child, in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloudy by night, chilling my Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsmen came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, or of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And the stars never rise, but I see the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lay down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the side of the sea. All right, so class, this what to call this one? This poem is an example of what kind. I would like to ask first. This poem is an example of what kind of poetry? Okay, so that's right. Beverly, it is an example of a narrative poetry. Correct. So a narrative poetry, it is a poetry that tells a story. Okay? And the narrative poems have a special appeal. They present dramatic events vividly, using some of the elements as short stories, such as plot, characters, and even dialogue. Okay? And then, where do the events in this poem take place? Okay. All right. Thank you, Grace. And at what stage of life was the narrator when he fell in love? And what caused Annabel Lee's death? Okay. So, Dwayne. Okay. Very good answer. And then why can neither the angels nor the demons separate the narrator's soul from that of Annabel Lee? And what does the narrator do all the night time? Okay, can you please answer that, Larry? Okay, very good. And how can a love be more than love? And how would you describe the love between the narrator and Annabel Lee? And what can you say about the narrator's mood? Okay, can you please answer that, Rochelle Abong? Okay, very good. Okay. So the poet County Cullen once wrote, "Never love with all your heart. It only ends in aching." And what does this mean? Or what does he mean by this? Do you think the narrator would agree? Why or why not? Can you please answer that? Uh, Mark de la Peña. Okay, that's a great point. And then, what have you noticed in the poem? Not including, the title. How many times does the name Annabel Lee appear in the poem? And then, what line in the first stanza is repeated almost exactly in the next three stanzas? Can you answer that, um, Darwin? Okay, great. And then which adjective describing Annabel Lee is repeated three times in the poem? Can you please answer that? Jane? Beautiful. Okay, great. Thank you, Jane. And why do you think the writer, repeats the name Annabel Lee so many times? Mark? Okay, because she's the title character and she's the reason the poem exists. Okay, that's great. So, based on the poem presented, define repetition and what are its purposes. Yeah, can you please answer that? Yes, Rochelle again. Okay, great. So repetition is the use of a word or a group of words more than once. It creates a variety of effects such as excitement, peacefulness, and even suspense. It is used for emphasis. Okay? So there are many ways to show how you love someone. There are those who gave their life as proof of their undeniable love, like a famous heroes who fought for our freedom. If you are Dr. Jose Rizal or Dr. Jose Rizal, will you give your life also for our country's welfare? And as a student, how will you be able to show your love to your fellow men, to the country as a whole, and to your family? Okay, so we have Darwin. Okay, great answer. So, as an evaluation, I would like you to have a 5 minute dramatization of the poem. Count off from 1 to 5 and form your group. I will give you 10 minutes to prepare. You can just use some parts of the poem for the script. You can also use repetition, and then I will grade each group using the following criteria. Okay, so we have here first criteria. We have characterization, it's 30 points. And then content, it's 30 points. Delivery, 20 points. And then overall performance, 20 points. That is a total of 100 points. Okay? All right, so you can group yourselves then. All right, so thank you, class. So for your assignment, you can just compose your own four-stanza poem using repetition as a literary technique. Pass it on or pass it to me next meeting, and the best poem will be read in the class. All right. So now, let us have our closing prayer. Can you please lead the prayer, Mark? Amen. Okay, thank you, class. See you again in our next meeting, and you have a good day. Thank you.